Lightning like Steve McQueen. I'm in the fast lane when the light turns green. And I built tough, I ain't nothing but grit. Cause I made rugged blood, sweat, and spit. Yeah, like a horse I fly. Better push yourself in for a bumpy ride. I like to play hard, but I work harder. And I weather the storm cause I'm built stronger.
This episode is brought to you by SPI Logistics, the premier freight agent logistics firm in North America. For over 40 years, SPI has been diligently building the most successful freight agent network to provide first-class relationships for our shippers, receivers, and carrier partners. We are more than another transportation network. We are a dedicated team of professionals united by one singular purpose, and that is to expedite our agents' success. All of our agents are set up for success on day one, as they are provided with a full suite of support staff that is ready to assist them with everything from after-hours emergencies to financial and administrative needs on a no-fee basis. This way, you can focus on continuing to grow your business. There is no financial risk to start, and you have the ability to earn up to 75% in commissions. If you are looking to take control of your financial future and build your business with the backing of one of the most successful logistics firms in North America, visit www.spi3pl.com to learn more. Do me a favor and let them know that the Freight Coach sent you.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? We are back. We are live. It is the Freight Coach Podcast, the top podcast in transportation, coming to you guys every single weekday, 8:30 a.m. Pacific, 10:30 Central, to break down some industry headlines. But most importantly, you guys, provide some actual insight into what you can do with all of this information. If this is your first time tuning in, welcome. This is the real side of freight, ladies and gentlemen. And I say that before every single show. And what I mean by that is I only speak with transportation professionals, because at the end of the day, you guys, I want to talk to the right individuals who have done what you're looking to do or who are currently doing what you're trying to achieve. So you can take that information, apply it, utilize it, and see a meaningful difference in your business and your life. Happy Wednesday, everybody. It's going to be a solo show today. I know everybody is, most of my customers are closed today, actually. And, they're going to be closed all weekend and everything. So, we won't be doing a show on Thanksgiving, but we're going to be releasing a pre-recorded episode on Friday from my time at the NMFTA Cybersecurity Conference. So you're going to want to check that out. I interviewed some really, really cool people at that event, and we're putting together some mashup episodes to be released out here over the coming weeks as well with that. But today, it's just going to be, more of like a rant today. If I'm being completely honest, it'll be, some strategy and everything, but, I'm just here going to talk about the realities of like starting a business and specifically, kind of like is like being a freight agent out there, because that is seemingly overly glorified right now on social media and freight. So I'm going to go through, the realities and the, what you're going to be faced with when you're going out there and starting your business. Corey Buchan, happy hump day. He's over on YouTube. Robert Cowton, my man. He said Monday he met with one of his Canadian carriers who has 32 trucks. Humbling, he has the stress to feed 32 families each day and night. Face-to-face meetings matter. 100% agree, man. And, I think it is imperative to get out there and meet your carriers, meet your customers, and then investing in those relationships, right? Like Sean Smith with Denim, he was on the show yesterday, and we were talking about the importance of carrier relationships. And I can't tell you how many times that saved my business, my book of business, when I was like all of those things and what it's done to help me grow that out and everything. So I'm glad to see you doing that. And yeah, man, I think it's a different stress level that's out there. Sonny Sharma, good fucking morning. Orange shirt gang in the house. Let's go. He's watching over on LinkedIn, you guys. But yeah, so I want to jump right in because, I'm going to specifically talk about my experience over, I will be self-employed for 5 years here in April of 2025, excuse me. So I've been out on my own. I have not collected a salary or a paycheck from anybody else for going on 5 years now. So that's what I'm qualified to talk about here today and kind of like what I've gone through over this time frame here. I'm not here to say like, oh, follow these steps and you're going to make $100 million, because I haven't built a $100 million company. yet, and I will. And I'm going to document all of this beautiful stuff on the way for you guys and continue to put it out there. Steve Setka says, being a freight agent and a freight broker is the best career move I ever made. Love solving freight issues and problems. But so here's what I agree, Steve. Sorry, I didn't mean to chop away from that one there. But, the reality of going out there, because I feel like this is, seemingly very, very glorified, and it's becoming more and more glorified every day out there about, starting a business. And some of the best moves I made, and if you are considering going out on your own at all, I would highly, and this is obviously after the filing your LLC and getting all that shit registered with the states, getting your, your tax ID, all that fun shit. This is after that. Hire an attorney. All right. I'm going to tell you guys that is the most important step you can make before you really start going. And if you can't afford an attorney at all, I would highly recommend you second guess starting a business when you start it, because you need to have a quality attorney in your corner right away. I have two very good attorneys. I have one that handles my contracts in particular, and then one that handles kind of the like everything else. We'll put it that way. And that was a very, very solid move. If you don't know who to where to reach out to an attorney, if you live in Arizona, I will highly recommend my attorneys who we work with. If you live in Minnesota or other states, because my one attorney who does all the things, he's actually been on the show before. I would highly recommend Cole and his firm out there to anybody. But I would highly recommend reaching out to them in the event that you need an attorney, because having an attorney is imperative. Because, having a contract, you guys, with your, depending on what service that you're in, you look at it like this. If you're a broker, having a carrier contract and a customer contract. And if you're not an agent, or if you're not, and you're out there doing all of this on your own, like, again, if you're a broker, for example, and you're a member of the TIA has some stuff that you can use. But again, you need to have an attorney put this stuff together, because you need to protect your business. All right. Your business is an entity on its own. Chris Jolly, the individual, is not Freight Coach Enterprises, okay? It is a complete separate entity, and you need to protect that motherfucker with the utmost of importance, okay? You need to do that. That's why I would highly recommend having an attorney right away. And again, if you can't afford one, I would really urge caution until you can afford an attorney to understand a lot of these contracts that you're going to be sent, all right? Because you don't want to be put in a bad position. You don't want to be left holding the bag because you wanted to just think that everybody was just going to do the right thing in every situation. And I am a naturally trusting individual, but ultimately, you guys, I am a skeptic, and I want to make sure this shit makes sense to me. So that's why I would do that. Number 2, CPA. All right. Certified public accountant. Again, I have a great one here if you're in the state of Arizona and you want an introduction to him. But finding a quality CPA was the second best step that I ever made out here. And this is very applicable if you are a 1099 or, out there, because understanding your finances, again, Freight Coach Enterprises is a completely separate entity than Chris Jolly, okay? So understanding the tax code, like as Trump famously said out there in there, I didn't do anything wrong. I just played the game, right? And there is a massive game that you can play to maximize your money when it comes down to write-offs and everything. When it comes down to certain things, understanding that, hey, if you go out and you buy a vehicle for your business, we can depreciate 60% or 80% of that over time, and that will lower your tax bill. There's a bunch of really cool shit out there that a CPA can deliver to you. Okay. So going out there and finding one, but also most importantly, keeping your finances in line inside of your business. All right. Because cash flow is everything. All right. I know a lot of people go out there and celebrate revenue and everything and like money raised and all of that. And that doesn't actually mean you have a profitable business, right? Profit is the thing that I am the most fucking concerned about 12 months out of the year, 365 days out of the year, is making sure that my business is making fucking money. Because if it doesn't, guess what? you don't have anybody to bail you out. You're going to go broke, all right? And you're going to go bankrupt and everything else. So you got to fight really hard for that. And finding a quality CPA is vital. That is step number 2. Step number 1, hire an attorney, get a right attorney to help you understand all this shit that's going to be thrown your way. Number 2, hire a CPA and have them better understand how you can properly allocate your revenue and everything. And now I'm going to say, sounds scary, right? You're also like, who like, how much is this going to cost and everything? It pales in comparison to what it will cost you to not have this stuff in time. I think it was Chad Olison posted this the other day, or maybe it might have been Madison who had posted this the other day about buying things, twice, right? Like the 10X of $400 is $4,000. I went to public school, so you guys can go out there and see the math on everything. But that is very relatable to stuff that I've been through in business that have costed me 3-4 times what it would have if I would have just invested in it right away. So there's a very solid way that you need to approach a lot of this. And this isn't necessarily talking about like the sales structure in business and everything else. I do enough content on that. If you want to know how to find shippers, just go back a couple episodes. I laid everything out there on a strategy and everything to follow. But, this is more about understanding the realities of when you're out there on your own. Now I want to talk about freight agents. All right. I want to talk about this structure in particular because this is being very fucking glorified out there on the internet. My agency is with SPI Logistics. I have a very, very deep relationship with SPI Logistics. I'm not going to make any changes. Let this be known to the recruiters and everybody else who send me stuff. I am flattered. But I will not be leaving SPI Logistics. As long as I am an agent, I will be with SPI Logistics. That will not change. My relationship goes way deeper than anything anybody else could offer with those guys over there. But, back to what it's like to be an independent agent. And I'm not going to talk about the structure of stuff. Like I just had Eze on the show on Monday. SPI is leading the game when it comes to technology and resources out there for their agents and everything. They don't pay me to say this. This is just my honest opinion about what we have as an agent for them. But here's the thing. If you're going to go out on your own, if you're going to be a 1099, or if you're going to be an independent agent and everything else, and they want to talk about the splits and everything because, which can be great, right? Like I would want to know how much I'm going to want to be. But here's what doesn't happen, you guys. Nobody comes and sells for you. All right. I find it very ironic that there are people out there who collect a salary who want to convince you to go out and stop getting a salary. All right. It can be. It's a very lucrative thing. Okay. It can be a very lucrative thing, but you need to understand what you're getting yourself into because the initial excitement of it is going to be awesome for about a month until you possibly don't get any money, right? That this isn't anywhere. This isn't talking about any specific company. This is talking about an overarching thing of when you are self-employed. All right. Nobody pays you. All right. There's no guaranteed money coming in anymore. That is done. That is over with. All right. That's why it's highly recommended that you have an actual book of business that comes with you so you can get paid right away. But again, what's that payout look like? Do they pay you when they get paid or do they prepay you right? Like up front, right? Like that's one of those things that again, this is going to kind of pseudo sound like a massive SPI sales pitch because it kind of is, but I just, that's who my agency is through. I get paid every Friday, no matter what, from SPI, from like the way that it's like essentially look at it like this. It's a Thursday to Thursday. So last Thursday to this Thursday is that kind of like cycle that it goes through. And then I get paid the following Friday based on that. No matter what, they take the risk and pay us as an agent before the customer gets paid. And then they pay the carriers and everything else before sometimes the customer pays. So they take a massive financial risk. I would want to know that before I sign any agreement with anybody. What does that payment look like? If we're going to do a 60-40 split or a 70-30 or whatever that looks like, how do I get paid? How is that laid out? Is there any clawbacks that are associated with anything? You want to understand the fine print behind this because again, there are inherent risks of going out on your own. It is not easy. It is not simple. It is being very glorified out there. You need to know about what you're going through. You also need to understand that it is so much fucking harder than you think. All right. Everybody thinks like, oh, I'm working for this organization. It can't be that hard to go out on my own, right? Wrong. All right. It is the hardest path you can possibly take out there. All right. And here's another thing. If you, and this is like, I want you to think really fucking long and hard about this, because this is a very real scenario that is going to hit you when you are an entrepreneur or independently employed or however you want. There will come a time when you have to pay, say, $10,000 of payables on the first of the month, and you are owed $15,000 on, say, like the 30th, and none of your customers have paid you yet. And you might not be able to pay your bills the next day, or you might not be able to pay your credit card balance, or you might not be able to make payroll if that shit doesn't come through. If you do not have the stomach for that, do not go out on your own. All right. It is one of the most nerve-wracking fucking scenarios you could ever be in when you're not getting paid because, you know, you don't have enough cash flow because you're still building your business and you're still getting all of that. There is nothing more nerve-wracking than owing money one day and then the current day you're owed a lot of money and you don't have the money to pay it. All right. That is one of the most nerve-wracking scenarios that you need to be in, that you're going to find yourself in out there. And, you know, obviously outside of getting sued and all that other shit. But that is one of the most stressful fucking scenarios that you're going to be in. You might often hear me talk about how the work is the easy part. That's not the stuff that bothers me about entrepreneurship. It's that situation that I just described right there. That's the shit that bothers me. All right. Because most businesses, when you're getting them off the ground, are so fragile, you guys. You are so fragile. Most companies, you know, the Pareto principle is very real, you guys. 80% to 90% of most businesses' revenues is tied up with one customer, you guys. One customer. All right. Most small businesses are 30 days from going out of business every fucking month. All right. Again, I'm just trying to talk about the realities of this stuff. Nothing about what I'm talking about here today says that you shouldn't do it. All right. I just want to level with everybody about this because I just see this trend out there. And again, my experience might not be your experience, but that's why, you know, that's why I do this show every single weekday, you guys. I come out here and I interview people and I put best practices out here because I want you guys to be fully prepared about all of this stuff. That's why we do this isn't why, like, we do a monthly financial show to help people understand their business finances better, because I want you to be prepared for it, because that is the literal most important component of your business outside of, you know, generating customers and revenue, is under keeping your cash flow steady, keeping your cash flow positive. All right. I.e., that's why Sean with Denim comes on this show once a month to break this down, to give you guys a better understanding about having the best and most top financial literacy out there inside of your business, because it is vastly different than your personal finances. All right. And these are lessons that I have learned over this time frame. All right. I want you guys to be very, very aware of that. I'm going to transition into the mental side of it again, right? Like I brought up the financial side of all that stress, but the mental side of constantly questioning, are you fucking doing anything with your day? All right. Because that's something that no matter what, I think I'm working hard, but I know that like every day I think I can do more, right? Like I'm never, even when I hit all my things for the day, I never think I actually did enough. I'm never growing fast enough. We're always behind. We're never ahead, everything. That's how I feel 99% of the time. All right. No matter what. And then I get a little bit of a brief reprieve when I look at our monthly numbers or our yearly numbers. And then I'm like, oh shit, we actually grew 90% between year one and year two. It's actually not that bad. But then that lasts for all of 24 hours. And then the next day comes in and I'm like, everything's behind. We're fucked. Everything's falling apart. That is an emotion that will probably never go away. That is something that is what you're going to be faced with out there, because You might have a couple of core customers. If you're a freight agent, right? You go out on your own, and you do this, you might have a couple of core customers, but nobody's just going to be tossing their business your way. You got to fight really, really hard to get business, right? Like I was talking to a buddy of mine the other day who literally has prospected some people for years, right? Like, are you committed to that? That's another thing you need to be aware of. Are you committed to that? Because there's no, hey, we used to work with this account, call them up, try and reactivate them as a sales rep. It is a complete cold start business development. You have to fucking do it every single day. And you're going to be constantly worried about not converting enough leads and everything else. Don't buy into the internet hype, you guys. It takes a lot longer than you want. Okay. It really does. And that's like what you're going to be up against out there. All right. There are some great systems that you can possibly get into, great organizations. Again, SPI is one of them, but SPI doesn't do the work for me, right? Like SPI doesn't make cold calls for me. They don't book the trucks for me. I have to, I independently operate this business as my own because it is, right? Like it is my business. It is my customers and everything. I just have them to help me out with some critical tasks. They provide some phenomenal resources for it, but they're not out here doing the work for me. Okay. You have to understand that before you leave a salary and go out on your own, there are no leads for you. You have to create your own leads. You have to develop your own. You have to qualify those leads on your own. The majority of my day when I'm out there cold calling to try and get people on the phone is just to make sure, like, is this a prospect that I should actually be going after long term? Do they have the freight volume that fits inside of my stuff? Because again, could I move Kraft Heinz's freight effectively? Of course I could. I am the best freight broker in North America. There is no doubt in my mind. But the volume that they need to be moved on a daily basis, I can't do it in my business's current juncture, right? So I need to know who to go after, the right customers to go after, and you got to develop that. That comes with it. There is a lot of dead silence out there and a lot of time that you have to think when you're going through this. And if I seem fired up today, it's because I am, because I want anybody who listens to this show to understand the truth about what they might be going up against, and then also to help you guys through some of those beginning stages that I've gone through, right? Like I've taken those arrows. I've had all of those negative thoughts. I've done all of that, and I'm trying to help steer you guys through it a little bit better than what I did right away in the first couple of years. And yes, there's a lot of value in making mistakes on your own. I'm a firm believer that the only way that you're ever going to learn is when you learn what not to do. I think that's more valuable than knowing what to do out there. But as I see more and more posts from the industry about, oh, just be an agent, it's all going to be easy. It just goes back to in 2020 when I first started creating content, when I started seeing all this shit about how, oh, it's just easy. Just snap your fingers and you're a fucking millionaire as a freight broker. It's very, very challenging. All right. Yes, it can be done. All right. But I mean, just look at the statistics out there, you guys. Like 9% of businesses gross $1 million a year or more in revenue. 9%. All right. So just take that into consideration as you're going on out there and understanding what you want to do in your business and being aware of what you're up against, because, you could go from one day from being the number one person at a large organization. And then you go out on your own and guess what? Nobody fucking knows who you are. And here's another thing. Nobody gives a shit either, right? Nobody cares that you went out on your own. You got to fucking fight for this every single day, you guys. You got to fight for this. And when you're at work, you got to work way harder than you think. All right. I still, again, like I know I've already said this on this show, I still know that I can work harder every single day. And I'm, seemingly doing stuff 12 to 14 hours a day, most days, but not every day. And that's not required, but I'm doing that. And I also encompass the after hours work and stuff like that. Like, what are you consuming outside of work? Like finding a mentor is something that's very crucial. And, if you don't know where to start, some people that I follow on social media out there, Andy Frisella, Ed Milet, Alex Hermosi, and there's some other ones as well. But like those three, Patrick Bet-David, he's another really good one as well. Those four, you can follow them for free on social media. You can listen to their podcasts, and what you're consuming outside of that is crucial, right? Because this is like, this is a nonstop thing. This is a nonstop self-development thing. You have to get this business off the ground, and you have to keep it growing. And you can learn from individuals who are further down. Some very solid books to read as well. Like I was just chatting with somebody this morning about that. I'm going to post out all the books that I've read and listened to on audio at the end of the year here. I just eclipsed 30 for the year between audio and text books. And I'm going to post that list out there because, again, the information that you're consuming is crucial. It helps you through a lot of those things, right? Because for me, it's like there's always that one thing in some of those books or those podcasts and everything that you can listen to that are going to help you out there. Because, again, there are no structures. There are no systems when you're out there on your own. You have to create your own, and you have to understand that it's on you to do that. No one's going to do that for you. So those are some things that I would be very, very focused on. Like, this is a 24/7 game. All right. I know this is the day before a holiday, and a lot of people are going to be shutting down. Hell, most people are already shut down. They didn't even come into work today. And they're going to be taking the next 4 days off. And if you're going to be a business owner, and especially in the beginning stages, as you grow and scale, it's a little bit different, but especially in the beginning stages, there aren't very many holidays that you get to take off. There aren't nights and weekends that you get to take off because it's all on you at that moment. It's all on you to come up with a solution. It's on you to make the decision. Whether you're going to be right or wrong is yet to be seen, but you got to make those tough decisions. You got to understand that it's on you, and it's always going to be on you. And if you have the stomach for that, out of everything that I just kind of ranted on, if you have the stomach for that, fucking go for it. All right? Go for it. Start today. Start right now. No one's going to come make that decision for you. But if you don't have the stomach for some of those things out there that are described, which isn't a bad thing at all, work for an established company, work for a company. You can make a shitload of money being a number 2, number 3, number 4 in some of these companies, and you can live a comfortable life, and you get to leave at the end of the day, and that shit doesn't follow you home. But if you are a sick motherfucker like me who loves the thrill of the unknown and loves the ultimate gamble of putting everything that you've ever made in your entire life on the line to accomplish your dreams, go out and start your own business. It's a fucking hell of a ride. It's a hell of an emotional journey, and you can do it. All right. Ultimately, you can. But take everything I said, use it for how you want ultimately out there, you guys. I'm fucking cheering for every single one of you, and I'm out there trying to figure this shit out every single day. And that's it, you guys. I'm just a dude who's just trying to figure out his life and accomplish his dreams. And I want to see each and every one of you do the same. But I also feel like it is my duty to bring you guys my truth about what I experience out there to kind of quiet this noise of how glamorous it is to go out there and just be your own boss and all this freedom and all this shit that comes along with it. There is a price for freedom. All right. There is a price for personal freedom out there, and you have to be willing to pay that every fucking day. But ladies and gentlemen, that is going to be it for today. We will be back on Monday. We got some guests coming on next week. I don't know who's on the show yet. I got to check out the calendar, but we're going to continue to bring the heat every single weekday for you. As always, you guys, if you guys got value in what you heard, subscribe to the show, you guys, if you could. If you guys want to subscribe to my weekly newsletter, go to thefreightcoach.com, all right? Auto-subscribe to it. I'm thinking about putting a poll out there because I get auto-signed up for a bunch of newsletters. I don't necessarily mind it, but I also don't necessarily like it. And if you want to sign up for it, go to thefreightcoach.com. The iTunes and Spotify, you guys, you can click on that. You can listen to the audio-only replay. You can watch the video replay on YouTube. My only ask is that you guys subscribe and share. You know, if you guys want to rank it too, that really helps get the word out there to everybody. But I hope you guys all have a very relaxing, safe holiday with your loved ones, you guys. And if you can shut off social media for the weekend, shut off social media. It's amazing how fucking life is fucking amazing when you don't have to hear the constant chatter of everybody's opinions out there about shit that they're not even doing on their own. But I love you guys. Thank you so much. And we'll talk to you soon.